I don't know about you, but over and over again, I see one distinct thing that's happening in low back pain patients, low back pain clients, athletes, and it's pretty much an epidemic across the world, that the low back is dramatically impacted by the hip flexor quadricep complex. I know, I didn't throw a big surprise at you there. But here's the thing that's really surprising to me. The thing that's really surprising to me is how many people don't take advantage of lengthening and stretching that and using the normal responses of a muscle contraction to lengthen it out. And they can do it so easily well within their exercise program. Here's why I don't think they do it. The reason they don't is they don't apply horizontal vectors in their training. Why? Probably because they don't train with bands. All right? They probably are training primarily with dead weight, and as a result of that, they just don't apply horizontal vector training. It's very difficult to do in a standing position to use dead weight as a horizontal vector, unless you have a cable column or a pulley column, which a lot of us don't have access to. So here's the deal. For years, I've been stretching while I've been strengthening. Stretching while you're strengthening. Pretty unique idea? No, not really. Not unique at all, but people don't understand that they're actually accomplishing that and how they can actually accentuate that if that's truly their goal. Let me show you a quick example. We've got a band set up here. Just a simple band hooked to a vertical bar. All right, what I'm going to do now is when I go to do a simple single arm push movement, what I'm going to do is emphasize making sure my hip flexor quad gets really engaged. Let me show you what I mean. Band's there. Now, because the band is a horizontal vector pulling me back, I've got this movement that I've got to deal with that's pulling me back. How am I going to do that? I'm going to do it through my trunk. Now, as soon as my trunk is engaged, what has to happen? My lumbar spine has to stay stable. It cannot go into extension. That is a big default button that a lot of bodies go to. Instead of stretching the hip flexor quadricep mechanism, they just go into lumbar extension or low back extension. Well, when you've got a band hooked here, that trunk has to be engaged. It therefore cannot go into extension unless you're super weak through your trunk. In that case, we're going to go ahead and we just come up a little bit more and modify the staggered stance position. But that said, that's what's going to happen with a horizontal vector. So now I get down into this position. Now if I drop down into here and let this knee bend a little bit and start doing some simple one-arm presses, and I really keep my back toe dug in, my front heel dug in, guys, I'm getting a lengthening of my hip flexor complex second to none. So now I come out of it, switch it to the other side, and I do the same thing. So again, dig my toe in, that's the key. Get onto my heel. Let the back knee bend. Don't keep it locked out straight. Let it bend so you get a little bit more engagement of that toe, and now just start pressing. Now, as I press out, obviously working my upper body strength, but the whole time I am getting a really nice lengthening of my hip flexor quadricep complex. How simple and how easy is that? So many people do not lengthen out their hip flexor quadricep complex correctly, mostly because they don't engage the trunk, they don't engage the glutes, and as a result of that, that hip flexor just sits there and tries to get passively stretched, but you know what? Lumbar spine, glutes quit on you, and you know what? You just start compensating. Here's another way to go ahead and do the same hip flexor quad stretch using strengthening. Again, horizontal vector. Horizontal vector, but this time what we're going to do is we're going to do a simple rowing. Now it can be a one-arm rowing, but it also can be a two-arm rowing, as I'm going to put my hands through here. Now, I'm in this staggered position. Now as I come out of it, boom, I am trying to lock up by pressing that toe into the ground, really big time heel into the ground, because the band is horizontally pulling me this way, so I've got to go ahead and learn how to pull against it. How am I going to do that? Engage my heel into the ground, engage my toe into the ground at the same time that I'm pulling. What does that create? it creates a huge activation of my glutes, both on the left side and the right side, and that causes this hip flexor quadricep complex to get mobilized on every pull. See what I'm saying? I'm going to be here, bang, right there. Right there, because I'm digging in my heel, digging in my toe, and squeezing the shoulder blades, bang. Big time stretch right there. Every stretch, boom, bang. Stretching that out. I can't tell you how easy that is to mobilize. And you don't have to do a big, glamorous, lengthy row. Just have them use what was given to us free, the ground. Use ground reaction forces through the heel, through the toe. Push into the ground. Then you've got your horizontal vector to go ahead and pull you forward or backward, which will then engage the hips to have to stabilize and allow you to start really setting things upstairs, downstairs, so that hip flexor quadricep complex is really getting engaged. Now the other thing you may say is, well Dave, I know the hip flexor quadricep complex has to be lengthened in 3 planes of motion. Guys, we'll go into that more in the future. But I'm telling you right now as a little side bet, you can lengthen your hip flexor quadricep complex in the frontal plane and in the transverse plane simply by staggering your feet and applying a horizontal vector. I'll give you some more of that in the future. But right now, just get it lengthening out, doing some simple staggered stance pushes and pulls. And I think that will get your group really mobilizing well. Once we get that going, we can always bring in the other stuff. I hope that helped you out with using horizontal vectors to go ahead and lengthen our hips out and stabilize our hips and activate our trunk. And in the meantime, we're getting that upper body workout that we all like to get.